Mr. President, Senators, we take this opportunity to say thank you for the opportunity to make a special presentation. Many of you will already take note of the fact that over this past week, there was what we consider an historic occasion located at the Howard University, where for the first time in the history of this nation, the presidential candidates were convened for the purpose of discussing issues that were relevant to a text known as the Covenant. The Covenant is authored by Tavis Smiley, our special guest. He distinguishes himself as one who has a heart for service, one who is lending his considerable skills and creativity to the advancement of the promises of democracy. He has distinguished himself by caring about young people. One of the touching moments of that evening, as you may recall, will be when he asked for 4 young people who were washing cars to say if they could just be a part of that presidential forum, to be in the audience. And Tavis, without blinking an eye and showing no restraint, said, we're going to, according to him, bump some of those people out of the VIP section so that you can be there to witness this occasion. That's what kind of individual he is. I believe him to be one of our nation's best. And it's a proud, proud moment, Mr. President and Senators, as we gather this day to welcome him to our house, to the California State Senate Chamber, to salute him on the work that he has done, the work he is doing, and the work that he will do to make our nation indeed a better nation. I give you, for this moment, Tavis Smiley.
Thank you. Mr. President and members of the California Senate, and to all those gathered here, let me commence by saying thank you for the honor of being able to stand in this august body, in this beautiful and ornate and historic place, to be so honored. I could never have imagined as a young person interning, in fact, for Mark Ridley-Thomas when he was a community activist in Los Angeles, that we'd be standing in this place today. So long before PBS and long before Meet the Press and long before NPR and Time and Newsweek, before any of that happened, I was a young person working at the feet of Mark Ridley-Thomas. In fact, long before he first ran for public office, learning what it means to have the kind of courage and conviction and commitment that those of us who care about our community have to have if we are intent on doing what I think is the important work of those of us who care about America, and that is to ensure that this become a place that is as good as its promise. I think that everybody in America, everybody in California, certainly we all want the same thing: black or white, Republican, Democrat, rich, poor, urban, suburban, educated or illiterate, male or female. We all want the same thing, and that is to live in a nation that is as good as its promise. And the California Senate and the California Legislature and even the governor's office, when they're doing their best work, help to create a California that is as good as its promise, as part of a country that is as good as its promise. And so we see the work that we are attempting to do in love and service to everyday people about trying to create an America that is as good as its promise. I'd be remiss if I, again, didn't thank Senator Mark Ridley-Thomas for the honor of being here today and for finding whatever it is that we are attempting to do worthy enough of this wonderful honor. So, Senator Mark Ridley-Thomas, I thank you. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about that. And speaking of love, let me also mention that this moment is so very special for me, because while I was just an intern, just a kid out of college working for Mark Ridley-Thomas, in the door to our offices down on Western, right off of King Boulevard in Southern California, into the door, and through the door, I should say, one day, walked the person who I regard as America's leading public intellectual. He happens to be from Sacramento and happened to return home today to share this moment with me. I'm one of 10 kids. I'm the eldest of 10 kids. And almost 25 years ago, after having met him through Senator Ridley-Thomas, he has become for the last 25 years the big brother that I never had. And I'm so honored to have, again, Princeton professor and America's leading public intellectual, Dr. Cornel West. Why don't you welcome Dr. West, who is standing behind me. And so let me close then with the words of Dr. West. So often we have these conversations, and when you are as bright as Cornel West is, anything you say at any point in time is liable to be profound. And such is the case. When we talk, I keep my pen and pad handy because you never know what he's going to say that you want to hold on to. And one day, in just a regular conversation, literally over hot dogs one day, having a dialogue, and we're talking about leadership. And he said something to me, said something very poignant and very profound that I've never forgotten, and I have taken it as the centerpiece of the work that I attempt to do, and I offer it to you for your consideration as leaders here in the California State Senate. Of all that I've read and all the seminars I participated in, all the conversations I've held on TV and radio about leadership, it is the most powerful definition of leadership I have ever heard. I call it the Westian formulation on leadership. And Dr. West says very simply but powerfully, you can't lead people if you don't love people. And you can't save people if you don't serve people. You can't lead folk if you don't love folk. You can't save folk if you don't serve folk. So each of us then, in our own leadership capacity, is challenged to wrestle with, to marinate on these two questions. If you can't lead without loving and you can't save without serving, what is the depth of your love for everyday people in California? And what is the quality of your service to them? If you can't lead without loving or save without serving, what's the depth of our love? And what is the quality of our service? The work that I do out of love and service to try to create America as a better nation, a nation as good as its promise. And I know that those of you in this hall, in this room, do the same thing here every day to help to create a California that is better out of love and service to those of us who live in the Golden State. And I am honored to be in your presence today. Thank you very much.
Mr. President and Senators, you heard about the forum that took place this past week with the Democratic contenders. In September, there will be another convened with the Republican aspirants for the presidency of the United States, hosted again by our special guest. And so it's with all of that in mind and more that we take this opportunity, Tavis, on behalf of the entirety of the California State Senate to present this resolution to you for the extraordinary, that is the stellar work that you are doing. This essentially memorializes the fact that we celebrate that which is happening in your life and the way in which you are doing it, and we thank you for that and much more.
Thank you.